Okay, so for this video, we're going to cover Freeform Surface around this workpiece to get the profile of a surface all the way around. We're also finishing inspection of mill part 4 here. So I've already imported the model. I have the drawing open, and you'll see we have this all around 10 thou profile of a surface to datum A. Datum A is the top of this workpiece. All of the specs on the outside are basic to help, again, define the profile of a surface where it needs to be. All their specs are coordinate, so we'll take care of the alignment and the profile of a surface, and then we'll work on the rest of the, pretty simple specs on this part. So I'm going to minimize here, get back into Calypso, and let's take care of our alignment. Okay, so what I want to do is I'll get my start alignment. All right, I'm going to define the top plane. I'm going to define the front here. And then I'll define this left side. Okay. Then I'll hit OK. All right. Looks good. Let's take care of our clearance planes while we're in this screen here. Hit clearance planes from CAD model. I am in metric right now. Let's fix that. So to fix that, go to your measurement plane editor features, go into units, length unit, change to inches, and hit OK. Clearance plane from model. Let's change this to 1 inch. Hit OK. That's fine. Hit OK. All right, so now we're ready to start, defining some things here, especially in our strategies. So we'll get into the features. None of these planes have a strategy yet, so I'm going to define plane 1 here. Take care of the strategy itself. A couple ways here. I'm just going to do a grid measurement. That does guess pretty well. The only thing I need to be careful of is how we're fixturing this. Are you fixturing to the holes with the fixture plate that was used to manufacture it? Things like that. You need to be a little careful. We could put a clamp here. We could put a clamp here. We're gonna have to, we could grab it in a vise. Either way. So I'm just gonna leave that like this. We'll edit the grid. Let's take a look at some of the specs we can have here for distances and edge distance. Again, you could rotate if you want. All right. Let's do a edge distance of, let's say, a 16th. Let's double that roughly. Okay. That looks good. Okay. So we'll hit OK. Now for the evaluation, I'm not going to get into the cookbook settings quite yet. If you have, I guess if you're in class with me, I will show you the cookbook and we can type those settings in. But I know I'm not really worried about that for now. I'd rather have you look up, I don't know what kind of probe you're using. I don't know if it's active or passive or what's going on if you're watching this on YouTube. So for right now, I'm going to leave that blank, but know that you need to have cookbook. You really need to apply it, live by the cookbook for all your filters, outliers, your evaluation methods, things like that. So hit OK for now in the feature and hit OK. Take care of plane 2. Now, plane 2 is really part of the profile of a surface, but we're going to end up doing freeform surface from curve. So this is just for alignment purposes for us. We could align off the holes, that's fine too, but this is a nice simple alignment, so it's not really that critical, especially because there's no ABC, datum reference frame for this workpiece. So I'm just going to do a polyline for this one. And the polyline, I'll go from model. And I want the edge distance to be, 1/8 of an inch. So that's good. All right, and we'll take care of plane 3. Now, plane 3, we could, it's really easy to go in there, but we could do the paintbrush or transform format down into plane 3, but it's just as easy to do a polyline and go back through this quickly. All right, so we're all set here. All right, we are aligned. And now let's take care of, the first thing we take care of is this profile of a surface, because that, theoretically should be new. We'll end up doing 2 curves, and those curves we use to define the freeform surface. The reason I like to select the curves is because the toolpath flows better, in my opinion. So we'll put a transition here, and we'll continue with profile of a surface using freeform surface in Calypso next. Okay, so let's get some, let's section this, 2 sections on this, and then put some, we'll get a freeform surface defined from those curves. So go to CAD, creating features, section. I'm going to select this top surface, put the vector to a 1, 0, so 0, 0, 1, so it's perpendicular to the z-axis. Get my extents all the way over. Okay, something like that. Make sure it covers the whole workpiece. And then I'll do the negative, the z height for this particular curve at 1/16 down. Its section. And I'll do another one at 1/4 inch. All right, so let's take care of creating a freeform surface now that we have all of our sections created. To do that, we could have done it in the CAD window, but we'll end up going into Features, Special Geometries, and all the way down to Freeform Surface. And then we need to open that up, and here we can start selecting our point geometry, or actually chaining these around like we did with the 2D curve. So we'll go to Strategy. And here's the clearance data. We're good here. Clearance group, we'll update that here. We'll go in and just go clearance planes Z positive. And the strategy, now that should be there. Now we can go into this option here, which is define point set. And then we'll go from curves and start selecting the upper portion, or this first curve up on top. Okay, and then the distance for the grid length, we'll put around 50 thousandths, let's say. And then we'll create it and see what it looks like. That's good. Okay, let's reduce that to 20. And create. All right, and then we'll go create point set. And then once this is done, we'll see a point set in our strategy for this freeform surface. Right here. So now what we want to do is I'm going to right-click, copy, right-click, and paste the clearance data. And we'll take care of the lower curve now. So we'll go to here again. We'll go to from curves, and we'll start selecting this all over again. Just doing the lower portion. Okay. We'll change the distance to 20 thousandths like the previous. We'll hit create, see what it looks like, and then we'll hit create point set and close. So I want to make sure there's a clearance data in between here. So I'll just cut this one and paste it here. So that way it bounces around and does not interfere. Okay, we want to make sure that there are two separate chains or two separate curves that define this freeform surface. So we'll hit OK here. And then before we get out of here, I'm just going to hit surfaces used, and this highlights all the surfaces used in this geometry. Okay, you'll see them all there. Okay, and that is our nominal data. All right, so we're good there. Clearance plane Z positive. We'll hit OK. And then let's go into the planner and actually let this run. I'm just going to execute this one feature. And I'll turn this solid while we're at it. And at the end here, hopefully we'll see a clearance plane move. Or a retract. We just don't want it to have any issues transitioning. So it goes up to clearance, goes back down again, and comes in and measures. Okay. So that's it for the freeform surface. We'll transition here, and we'll come back and take care of our profile of a surface all the way around this workpiece. Okay, so let's apply the profile of a surface characteristic to this freeform surface. If we look at the part, it is a 10 thou bilateral all-around profile of a surface to datum A. Because again, profile of a surface is bilateral unless otherwise specified. So we'll go back into Calypso and go to characteristics, and I'm going to go to form and location, profile. The feature is our freeform surface, and the alignment now, since it's only to datum A, just select plane 1, which is datum A, and hit OK. Everything else can be left blank. I know there are some talks, some people put plane 1 for each of these, but because this is a freeform surface, this is totally acceptable. So this will be, profile 1 is fine. I'm not going to go over naming or anything. You can name that as you see fit, tolerance it, whatever. The tolerance is 10 thou. Okay, bilateral. All right. So we'll hit OK. And our profile is done. Okay. So that's profile of a surface. Again, if we look at our workpiece, that's the only geometric tolerancing on this workpiece. What we can do now is take care of some of these other coordinate tolerances. So I'll start taking some features around here. I did put my base alignment down to lower left corner. That's on purpose. Most of the features do come from there. Some come from this upper right corner, so we can end up doing another secondary alignment up here. So for right now, I will put a transition in just to let you catch up with the profile. I know it didn't take very long, but I want to make sure that it give you time to do that. And then we'll come back and start taking the rest of these features. Okay, so let's take care of these whole locations here. So we'll get into our feature selection window here and go to define circle on a cylinder and take care of these 4 circles. Okay. And the strategy should already be in there. And again, I'm not getting into the cookbook for speeds and, you know, the angle range going, you know, past, things like that. We could talk about that later. Again, I don't want to post the cookbook on YouTube. Again, here's your filters and outliers. Okay, but again, and then if this were geometric part, you know, a positional tolerance, it would be outer tangential for our fitting algorithm. But I'll cover that in another video or in class. So we'll hit OK. And now circle 1. Okay, if we look at our drawing, we can output characteristics for the locations from the base alignment for these 2. Okay, and we could also do the Y for these 2. The X is going to be 4 inches polar coordinates, or we'll do a polar distance for these 2. So let's get back into Calypso, and we'll output the X, Y, and diameter for circle 1. The tolerances on this workpiece are plus or minus 5 for the locations, and the diameters are plus or minus 10. So we'll go back to Calypso. Diameter is plus or minus 10. And the whole locations are plus or minus 5. Okay. So we will hit OK. And we'll do the same thing for circle 2. All right. And we'll just do last input. And again, that's going to be plus or minus 5. So we'll just change these to 10. Okay. All right. Now 3 and 4. We'll update to do the Y values in the diameters. Okay. Circle 4 is same thing. Okay. Now we need to take care of the distances between these. Now we could do a simple distance, or we could do, you know, there's other methods, Cartesian. We could end up, you know, doing a different alignment on these holes and then doing distances from there. But we can just do simple distance here. There's also, I think, on this version should have caliper distance, which we could also use. So right now, let's just do for circle 3 here. So this distance here, we'll go to size, distance, and we'll go to simple. All right. And this will be the X value, circle 3, something like that. The feature 1 is going to be circle 2, and feature 2 is circle 3, and the X is 4 inches plus or minus 5. The datum reference range is a base alignment. That's fine. That's what we're using for this one. We could also essentially, you know, this is 4 inches. If you can update different alignments. So let's say we wanted to tolerance this hole. We could do a new alignment up here, and simple distance would also work there. Besides just kicking out information from the feature, you can change the alignment in simple distance to output values from, you only need one feature, I guess what I'm trying to say. So you could put circle 2 from the base alignment will give you data here. So it's another way to do it. It's very similar to distances, you know, outputting in the feature like we just did previously. So hit OK. We'll do the same thing. I'll just copy and paste it for circle 4. And this is circle 4 is automatically updated. I think that should be good. Yes. So what we need to do is change this one to circle 4, and I am going to change this circle 2. It's sort of irrelevant, but I will change it to circle 1. And we're good there. We'll hit OK. And we're all set. So there's our circle information. What we need to do now is prep for our next feature set here. So we're going to put a new alignment in the upper right corner. And then we're going to tolerance the mid planes here to get a location. And then we'll tolerance these planes, splitting them about this to get the location correct. I think that'll be the best way for this. Again, we are tolerancing the 1.5. So the 1.5 will take care of this location. We'll derive a symmetry plane here. The 0.5 from here will be fine to this plane, and then the 1 inch will spec out differently, and the 1.5 will spec out differently. So those can be Cartesian distances. I do like Cartesian distances when the features are planes. I think that works real easy. You don't need any datum information, and it tends to give a pretty good result. We could also do a number of other methods, but I think we'll do Cartesian for this one. So let's get in here, and before I do a transition, I will update the alignment. So I will go to Resources, Utilities, and Alignment. And what we'll do here is update this to spatial rotation will still be plane 1. Okay, planar rotation can still be plane 2. All right, that's fine. Now, the Z origin will be plane 1. We'll get rid of that now. And then we're just missing information on the other side. So what we can do is take a couple more planes. So I'll do define select geometry here and here. Okay, and that'll be fine for this example. All right, so hit OK. And then we need to assign some strategies here. So for this feature, I will go to strategy. I'll do a polyline for this one. Polyline will be from model with an edge distance of 1/8 of an inch. Okay, I'll take care of the next one. It'll be the same settings. Again, I could transfer or do this in the feature settings editor, but it's really not a big deal to do it this way, just more mouse clicks. Okay, so 1/8 of an inch, we're good there. Okay, so those two are all set. I will right click and execute this alignment, make sure it runs okay. And we're good there. So now we have our new alignment. All right, I'll transition here, and then we'll start taking features inside of this pocket and get the characteristics we need to finish up this workpiece. And we will do a result element for this final 375 stock thickness. All right, so let's get the features we need for this pocket. I will go down here and go to define select geometry and select the planes that I want. And the bottom. And then I will also go to define circle on a cylinder and take care of these arcs. Now these arcs should be a default of 1/4 of an inch. I know the drawing is not updated for that. It was a revision. So we will just tolerance them at ±5 for this example. So planes 6 through 10 need to be updated. So in here, let's go to strategy and let's do a polyline and from model and give it an edge distance of 1/8 of an inch, and that's fine. I will update the number of points to, let's say, 250, and then I'll hit OK. And then make sure the clearance group is Z. So we're good there. So hit OK. We'll right click on it and execute now to make sure we don't have an issue, and we're good. So what I want to do now is transfer that information from plane 6 to the other planes and just make them all the same. And again, you should cite the cookbook for all of that strategy, filters and outliers, but I'm not focused on that for this one. Sorry to sound like a broken record, but it is very important that you do that. So we'll hit, with plane 6 selected, we'll select the paintbrush option. We will transfer the clearance group and the measurement strategy to plane 7 through 10 and hit OK. Double check, Z positive, strategy, polyline, we're good there. So let's go ahead and right click on, let's go through these planes, right click and execute now to make sure we don't have an issue. All right, we are good. We'll do the same thing for the circles just to make sure, right click, execute now. Okay, so they ran successfully, at least in from a computer standpoint. We didn't run it in simulation yet to see for crashes or anything, but we are good to go. So let's take care of our initial, ½ inch minus ½ inch from this new alignment, ±5. So we'll get back into Calypso. We'll go to, looks like plane 7. We'll open up that, and I'll do a X value, but the thing is, it needs to be from alignment 1. See how the numbers change? So from alignment 1 in the X, ±5, X value of plane 7. We'll leave it at that for now. So hit OK. There's our X value. And again, your numbering really should be a bubbled drawing. So bubble this, bubble that, that thing. That does work really well. But your organizational scheme is totally up to you, and it could be up to you at your facility. So I'm not going to worry about that for now. This part is simple enough that It's not hard to derive what is what. So let's take care of the next one. So the next one for the location of this is going to be 1.5 in the Y, negative, but it's a symmetry plane. So let's go back to Calypso, and we'll go to Construction, Symmetry. And this symmetry plane will be between plane 6 and plane 8. So hit OK. And this will be midplane pocket. And we will tolerance this in the Y. Now, the issue is this is coming from the base alignment. We need to go to alignment 1, Y, plus or minus 5. So hit OK. There is our characteristic. Now we need to take care of the actual sizes of this. Okay, so it's 1.5 by 1 inch. We'll get back into here, and let's do a caliper distance. So we'll go to Size, Distance, Caliper. And in caliper distance, from the base alignment, which is fine, we could do alignment 1. It doesn't really make a difference for this one. Since all these features are coming from alignment 1, we'll work with alignment 1. We'll go between plane 7 and 9. Hit OK. Should be 1.5. That matches the drawing. 1.5 plus or minus 5 in the X. And that's good. All right. So we'll leave that there. We'll hit OK. And then we'll do another caliper distance. And we'll go the other direction. So we'll go, and again, I will change this to alignment 1. We'll go from plane 6 to plane 8. And in the Y, that is 1 inch. Correct, plus or minus 5. So we'll hit OK. There's our caliper distances. Now, the last thing we need to take care of are the arcs. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the features. And now these circles, okay, are going to output a diameter. We don't want that. Okay, we want to output a radius. So we'll go to Size, Standards, Radius. Okay. And in here, we'll open it up and go to the feature, and we'll select circle 5 and hit OK. 1/4 inch radius, plus or minus 5 is fine. This will be radius 1. Hit OK. Now, we should be able to, instead of doing that again, we should be able to go to Features, circle 5, go to the transfer, and it's going to be the characteristics, and then select circles 8 through 6 and hit OK, and all the radius should go with it. So even characteristics that are not in the actual window here will translate when they relate to that feature. So we're good here. Okay, and this can, I'll rename this just to have sync up. This will be radius circle 5. Okay, good time to save. And I think that's about it. We do need a result element for the 375 stock. We'll just check that with a mic. So we'll get into back to Calypso, and we'll go to Size, More, Result Element. And in Result Element, this will be thickness, or stock thickness. And it's going to be 0.375 plus or minus 5, I think. Let's double check that. 375 stock. That would be in our shop standards for what the actual tolerance is. I'll put plus or minus 10 for now. And we can address that later depending on what our, I'll look at the shop standards and we can address that in class. So we're good there. Result element, dialog box, measure, part. Okay, then hit OK. So we'll hit save. And if I double check the drawing, I think we're all set. We have the profile, we have the pockets, we have the holes, we have the stock thickness. That is really it for this one. I will simulate this now. So I'll go to Planner, turn my measurement plan simulation on. Run. Everything else here should be good. Hit start. And we can watch it run. So here is our initial alignment. We did a grid for this. And there's different options, polyline, multiple polylines in the strategy to have it flow better. But grid is a quick way to do it. And again, we're only doing one. This is for, learning. This is not for production. You can do multiple grids on a workpiece. You can do all in the same strategy. So that strategy dialog box is super helpful. All right, here's our scan. Freeform Surface. Now, I did not get rid of did not update the evaluation to get rid of the corners because, again, it's up for debate, but the corners are technically part of the profile of a surface, so I left them alone. And you'll see in this pocket, it does bounce around a little bit, so I'm not worried about that, but... Oh, one thing we did forget was the depth of the pocket. And again, that probably is, if it's not in the drawing and the notes, then we'll just update that. There's the arcs. So we're good there. PyWeb's going to load. Part thickness 0.375. There's our result element. Let PyWeb load. Okay, everything looks okay. So we will close this out. And we need to do the depth of this pocket. So that's pretty simple. We will go to plane 10. Do a Z, quarter inch, plus or minus 10. That's fine for this. Again, it's probably not, maybe it is on the drawing. Oh, there it is. Nope. It'll probably be a note in the future. Again, I don't know what revision this is. So just keep an eye on that for the future, the actual pocket depth. Okay. So let's go back into Calypso. This is fine for this. We'll hit OK. And there's our plane 10. I'll just execute now. We're good to go. So that's really it. Again, everything has probably been sort of rinse and repeat as far as the circles and things. But the freeform surface was new and the profile of a surface was new. So I figured I'll do the whole part, but I did that first. That was the main focus of this video. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, or you can shoot me an email. And hope this was interesting. Thanks for watching.